right, and here in the top left-hand corner of Ohana, we have our purple Zerg player from Team New Breed. It is StarBuck, America. Yeah. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, our blue Protoss player from Eclypsia, trying to tie things back up for them. It is Welmu.
All right, so maybe he's saying all this stuff about America because Welmu is Finnish.
I believe you're correct, yes.
Yeah, and Elfie is Swedish or Finnish?
I'm not sure.
Elfie. I feel like I get Welmu and Elfie confused a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They're both
Protoss players.
Nordic
yeah.
Protoss players.
But
yeah, but Welmu actually has just been basically a star player for Eclypsia since he joined them, and I have to believe he's going to be a big favorite here against StarBuck, who StarBuck obviously knows what he's doing. Stayed alive long enough to just suffocate Kerr in that last game on Daybreak, so obviously can't count him out. But Welmu has a lot of.
StarBuck, though,
he's very excitable.
StarBuck, though, she's plucky and always knows how to finish that one last flying mission. So I don't know.
Okay, and I'm actually just reading some tweets now from people correcting me. So Frank, our very own Frank Fields Miri, who actually ran VT Gaming, tells me that Zerker was VT, not Lurker. Dang it. I thought I was right. So Frank does not know who Lurker is at all. And that's very sad.
Neither does anyone else who plays Wings of Liberty. No, it's not in the game anymore.
And yeah, someone else corrected me. I might be referencing VT Zerker, who was then picked up by All for One Gaming and then went to its Gosu and then retired. So sorry, Zerker, I misremembered you as well as Lurker.
For some reason, when we mention players retiring, I forget the fact that they're usually still pretty young. So I always imagine this grizzled old veteran sitting back in a rocking chair, corncob pipe in his mouth, just reminiscing of the good old days of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, and that's how I imagine a lot of American StarCraft players are, because it's hard to keep up, it seems. But someone else did just tweet. The most recent tweet I got there was asking you how old you are, because he says he imagines that you're much older than I am. Oh,
okay. Well, I guess we'll both say our age.
Okay.
I am 25 years old.
I'm 26, so you're wrong. You're just wrong.
That's right.
If you could see my face a little bit better during the cam stuff, you'll see a lot of gray hair. Kevin, actually, I'm looking at it right now. Don't really see any gray hair.
Well, every time I get one, my wife always picks at it like, it's a gray hair. I'm like, that was not funny the first time you did it.
Yeah.
But,
or any of the subsequent times. And I've had gray hair since I was 16. I have memories of learning to drive a car and my mom like pulling a hair out of my head. She's like, oh, you have something in your hair. Pluck. And I'm like, I'm driving. I don't know how to drive. I'm going to kill us. Don't do that again. But, okay, there's a game going right now. But, yeah, I am older than Kevin. So, sorry, Twitter guy.
I'm one of the younger people in the office here.
That's true.
That is a fact.
We are, on average, very young, though. I'd say 26 is probably about the average age.
It's about right.
Yep.
So. All right, so Welmu doing pretty normal stuff. Did decide to pylon block for a while, canceled it, and the hatchery was able to actually come down from StarBuck, so nothing looking too weird there other than that earlier gas. Never mind, that is a very early gas that's already coming up for him. So usually you'll wait until about 30 to 35 drones, depending on how economically aggressive you want to be, then put up double gas afterwards, or triple gas in some circumstance if you wait till about 35, 40. As it kind of goes on from there, though, or I guess as we can see from StarBuck, this is prioritizing Zergling speed very early on.
That's true, but we are seeing the very normal 3 hatcheries as well, though, getting up to that 3rd as quick as possible. Because it's decently easy to defend, they're not too far apart, and you can destroy those destructible rocks between the bases to just get all that creep spread going, and all the queens will have very nice mobility between bases. But Welmu on the other side does have a Stargate just now starting, so I do actually like Phoenix play on Ohana, because the way that the main is structured really is very conducive to Phoenix play. He can actually get in there and get out without really risking losing a lot of Phoenixes, just because they don't really have any options for chasing until Mutalisks come out.
All right. Well, not too much else popping out. Well, let's see. That is layer tech and continued gas income. So I wonder what StarBuck's going to go with. We didn't really get an opportunity to see a conventional game from StarBuck, as Kerr decided to do something ridiculous that forced StarBuck into taking bases that were completely opposite sides of the map. So would expect something a little more standard here. But then again, he's kind of throwing that on its head because layer tech's just about to finish.
Yep, and actually we're seeing a Void Ray first, which I initially didn't like, but the more games I see with it, I understand more and more. Basically, you can get a Void Ray out, and by the time it reaches that first Overlord to try and kill it off, you can have a Phoenix out already and start scouting around, and the Void Ray is already doing damage by the time the Phoenix reaches across the map, so it makes sense to me now. At first, I was like, Void Rays, I think the reason for that is because they're very kind of hit or miss. Void Rays can really do a lot of damage sometimes, and other times they do absolutely nothing.
It's true, though.
Obviously, the more Void Rays you have, the more basically you're forcing your opponent to respect them and try and deal with them. So if he continues to make Void Rays, he can actually just force his opponent's build basically without him having a choice.
All right, well, Void Ray reveals itself, picks off this Overseer up in the front, not going to get too far. Pretty good pick of the Overseer as well, not going to see the subsequent gateways that are coming up, nor the robotics facility. This is reminiscent to a degree of the games that worked for Crank yesterday, where he decided to go Void Ray and then immediately transition into a robotics bay afterwards. As we can see, though, because of the continued gas income for StarBuck this entire game, this is a very early Spire. Heavy Mutaplay used to be a little bit more popular here. It's fallen out of favor as more people were concentrating on the 3-hatch no gas, but certainly still has its place.
Yeah, and especially when you've already spotted that air tech, so now he's got enough for 9 Mutalisks in just gas, and that's usually the limiting factor, so he should catch up on minerals. Right as that Spire finishes, he'll be able to make 8 or so Mutas. 9 and 10 should be following soon after, so it looks like Larva is just going to be his limiter. Actually, no, Supply. Wow, actually, I didn't realize Welmu's ahead on Supply right now over StarBuck, but Welmu actually doesn't surprise me too much. Like we said, Welmu's had a lot of tournament experience and online and offline, so he is kind of favored here against the more unknown StarBuck. It's just really interesting to see Protoss numbers in contention with the Zerg supply at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of supply was being saved up for Mutalisks, and he's been teching super aggressively. I mean, we have Corruptors already coming up. There's Infestation Pit is almost done. A ton of Spore Crawlers were put down. Still that Roach Warren earlier layer tech, so everything kind of pointed towards a little bit more tech aggressive play, I suppose. Now that he knows, oh, look at that, second Stargate already put down as soon as he sees the Mutalisks, and I wonder if we're going to see that fabled Anti-Impulse Crystal build. Not build, but just upgrade.
Well, it would be fabled if it was a build, because I've never seen a
White Raw
tailored for it.
Against Stefano at South by Southwest is the only person I've ever seen explicitly do that. Yes.
Yeah, I remember the Tal'Darim Altar game, and because it was working so well. But if you recall, he actually lost that game in the end. I mean, the Phoenix play was actually sick. He killed so many Mutalisks with just Phoenixes, but he did actually end up losing that game. Stefano just kind of on another level. I mean, I really can't pretend that Stefano's not a level above most other foreigners, but that show match against White Raw was a lot of fun to watch, but just was kind of one-sided. But here we go. Phoenix is actually starting to do their damage. They are in a large enough number. They can pick off Corruptors without too much damage, and these Mutas are already on the run.
Okay, so 2 Phoenixes at a time being produced right now, along with +1 air weapons. So, Welmu's really, really investing into this. And the problem he, of course, has to watch out for, though, are the infestors that are popping out now. If he's able to kind of spread his Phoenixes out, make sure he can lift those individually, he'll actually be looking pretty good. But if they all do clumped up kind of like that, right underneath those infestors, it'll just be a lot of dead Phoenixes very quickly.
And here are the infestors. They're not paying attention just yet, though. Okay, so first fungal does go down. The other one gets lifted. I like that he lifted the one that didn't fungal, so the other one doesn't have energy in it. So nice infestor kill there, and no Phoenixes lost.
So the ground army is being supplemented now by Colossi for Welmu. He does have first Colossus just about to pop up, also extended Thermal Lance on the way, but it's going to be a while before that finishes. Oh, wow, a lot of economic damage done. Of course, Phoenixes do twice the damage against light units, so they rip through drones just incredibly quickly.
Yeah, and he's just going to continue cranking out Phoenixes here, but also The entire time he's been moving along with his ground tech, so we do have extended thermal lances on the way. We have +3 weapons already started as well. So Welmu has basically gone into the strategy of, I'm going to let my Phoenixes basically do all the distracting for me while I can just take my time, add on 6 gateways at once, and actually build up a just massive ground force.
That's right. So I was looking for where the gateways are being constructed. There we go. And that is a fair number of gateways on the field. So 10 of them already on 3 bases with the robotics facility that's producing Colossi at the moment, and double Stargate is a possibility. That's exactly what he needs. Oh, did he get out before Greater Spire? Yes, he did.
Okay, so he didn't see the Greater Spire, but look at this action in front of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th bases. That's 16 spine crawlers at once being placed by StarBuck. When in doubt, you know, grow a forest of spine crawlers, because he knows these Phoenixes aren't the end game. Obviously, Phoenixes can't even attack buildings, so Welmu's obviously massing up a ground force, and he's going to be ready to roll soon. That +3 weapons is probably going to be the last last trigger before he starts to walk across. Yeah, look at that, 18, or no, 22?
23 now. Yeah, that's absurd. Look, so these roaches are obviously not light units, but the Phoenixes are in such a great number, and they still do 2 attacks that they're able to rip through roaches and just kind of pick them up individually. So, wow, StarBuck just really hasn't been able to get anything done at the moment. He was banking resources for eventual Corruptors and then Broodlords, but with that many Phoenixes out there, it's still going to be difficult to pull that off. As Fleet Beacon's on the way now.
Let's look at resources lost, because Welmu, oh my god. I had a feeling that it was a little skewed in one direction.
Tonight's going to be a good night.
3150 resources lost against 150 resources lost for Welmu. He's playing a near flawless game so far. Obviously, those numbers are going to shoot up once he attacks into these million spine crawlers and roaches and mutas and infestors, but basically, I mean, he's not going to move until he has the Colossus count he's comfortable with and probably a mothership.
Okay, well, Fleet Beacon is finished up, so we could start to put up a mothership here in a second. Have the resources, and there we go.
And the pulse crystals.
And yes, and I am Pulse Crystals. I'm so happy. That is, for those of you who are unaware, because it's been out of play for a while. I think the last time I saw it in Pro Play was when Genius used it against Dongreku in the in that GSL Finals. It is the Phoenix range upgrade.
I feel like I cast a game for one of our something or others, maybe a Fight Club, maybe I think Squirtle may have used it against Coca or someone. But yeah, I know we've seen it recently, because I remember Doa and I conversing about it. But do you think anion is, you know, the scientific, like, not ion, or is it a place that Protoss people are from? Like,
I hope it's actually a reference to both. So yes, like, it's just a place where ions are flipped around.
Right. Are these crystals like scientifically negatively charged or something, or are they from a place called Ania, where they're just anion crystals? I really need to know.
Well,
for pronunciation's sake.
Look at the range on those Phoenixes. That's insane.
He's not even waiting.
Range. Are you joking me? No, you can't kill them all that they're out there. Anyway, so here come the rest of the forces from Welmu, making his way up to the front. The 4 Colossi taking down the spine crawlers very, very quickly. The Corruptors are in large enough numbers overhead that they deal with with those units pretty effectively. But now there's Blink Stalkers and not a lot to oppose them. Yes, 2 Broodlords at the back, but they can start to deal with the Corruptors pretty efficiently. 1 Colossus does go down, and a second going to fall here in a second as well.
Welmu, I was really surprised that Welmu did that moments before his mothership was finished. Obviously, with a mothership out, he would have a Vortex on his side and could, you know, Vortexes, I'm trying to remember, they can't suck in spine crawlers though, right?
No,
so spine crawlers would just sit
units
on top of the Vortex.
Right.
But he would be able to clear through that without all the Corruptors killing his Colossi. I mean, I'm just a little surprised that he didn't wait for his mothership there when it was so close already. I mean, he was already maxed. He's got +3 weapons. I don't know what StarBuck's sitting on. It looks like 0-1 for air. Click a roach somewhere. We got 2-2 on the ground. So, yeah, I'm really surprised that he just kind of walked in there without waiting.
He's got double Stargate too, and I don't think the inclusion of a few additional air units would be bad here. Of course, he's how much gas does he have? A pretty fair amount. So this is actually going to be a lot of Templar here in a second. That is the wiser choice once that Templar Archives finishes up. But don't think the inclusion of additional air units would be all that poor.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you've got the tech available, but now we have 7 Templar warping in, and I don't actually see any Archons morphing yet, so I'm curious if, oh, there we see the Archons. All right, I was like, I'm curious what kind of storms he's going to be trying to drop here soon, but 4 Archons already. He can start making more as well. The ground forces are going to be very balanced there with those Archons doing splash damage to air and the Colossi doing so much splash damage to the ground. Mothership, of course, allows for that Archon toilet as well. You can just drop a Vortex and have all your Archons file in there. When everything pops out, they just zap everything to death with their AoE damage.
201 supply, over 200 for StarBuck. Did put down 1 Spinecrawler there for a second, just to be able to get a couple additional units out. So let's see here now. StarBuck's kind of rolling his way up to the front. He's got a pretty beefy air army, but it's largely roaches on the ground and not a ton of infestors, so that's going to kind of be the saving grace for Welmu right now if he gets the right kind of engagement, because the mobility is not going to be limited all that much of these Stalkers, but he really does need that right kind of engagement. Mothership does have enough for a Vortex, and oh, drops in a few of the Broodlords, actually half of them.
That works because now he can pick off all these existing units and drop in the Archons, and they'll deal with the rest, essentially. So all the Stalkers blinking forward. He has a pylon right there, so it's wonderful positioning for him. There are the Archons popping out. They are going to pop a couple of all the Broodlords that were in there, basically. And yeah, that was actually really good to catch half the forces because it allowed him to kill everything efficiently.
Yeah, and that is going to be so difficult to recover from now for StarBuck. nuBreed may actually lose this game now. We're going to see if Welmu can push ahead here. Looks like he is going to be able to take out this hatchery, no problem. He still has to assault the Spinecrawler wall, which is going to be difficult for him to overcome. Wow.
Well, he'll have Cloak. He'll have Extended Thermal Lance, at least 2 Colossi in production right now. So that'll obviously help out. A lot of changelings, obviously, will be on his side as well. They can just, you know, tag along.
That's
and,
right.
That's a lot of changelings. Why would you do so many changelings? Seems like one would serve the same purpose. But we do have basically upgrades rolling now for StarBuck. It looks like he wants to try and get into some Ultralisks here soon, but still investing into Broodlords as well. The Mothership just floating around ominously, waiting for all the forces to get gathered up. We do have some Zealots actually preventing expansion here. StarBuck actually, I didn't even think about it for a while, but he is going to need to expand. He's been on these 4 bases for about 10 minutes. It's probably getting quite low on minerals.
Yeah, he absolutely does need to expand. Finally, another base coming out of Welmu as well. As we can see, he's mined out of his main, most of his natural, and a fair bit of his third. Those are actually getting pretty low as well. They're at about half resources at the moment, a little bit less. So Welmu, pretty good economy, but needing to stretch it forward a little bit further.
Here we go. So Welmu's starting to creep forward again. Does not have an observer in the air, obviously, or all these creep tumors would be taking fire. He is going to send another wave of Zealots. They do not have... Wait, do they have charge? No, I don't think they do.
No, it's researching right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Zealots still without charge, 24 minutes into the game, but that's all right. They're going to get here unopposed and basically force StarBuck to move his army. You can see the big purple blob moving across now. That's going to open up that 4th base for Welmu if he decides to hit there.
It looks like that was killed once again. So quite a bit of damage done, just with a couple of Zealots. Neural Parasites on the way, though, and we've seen situations, notably in Hyun versus Squirtle, where a well-timed Neural Parasite on the Mothership with a Vortex on your side can actually really help you out. So.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, though, that Welmu did not move up into that 4th base area when he saw the huge response that he elicited from those Zealots killing off the hatchery. I feel like he had basically enough to get in and out with all those Archons and Blink Stalkers. Mothership could have even dropped a fleeing Vortex, if you will, but here we go. Oh, Spinecrawler's actually changing position now. That's not useful. Those are all going to die before they even get rooted.
Yeah, actually 5 of them, 6 of them have gone down already, so just a handful left over at the back, and most of the Spinecrawler wall goes down without taking out hardly any units. I mean, we had 196 supply, so 2 Stalkers were lost for Welmu.
Oh my goodness, so Welmu just got some free Spinecrawlers handed to him. There's a Vortex catching almost nothing, it looked like, but these Queens are actually getting dangerously close. Big blink forward, obviously, from the Stalkers. A nice fungal lands on them as well to try and get some damage in, but we do see the Archons working their way into the Vortex, so we can obviously watch them destroy the few units that did get in there. The Broodlords just splatter so easily, always so gratifying.
was mostly a positional vortex there just to allow himself to move up to the side as well, and the roaches just
they don't even want to fight.
No, they're just getting out of there. The Mothership has taken some pretty good damage. There are still 3 Colossi sitting at the back, racking up the kill count as well. Yeah, more units taken out off to the left-hand side. And even though StarBuck is maxed now, Welmu has a lot stronger units on the field at the moment.
Well, he's maxed, but he's got 46 supply tied up in larva right now, and all that he's got at the front lines are these queens that just got splattered. There's no anti-air left here for StarBuck, even though the Mothership is dangerously close to dying. He's got no way to finish it off now that all those queens are dead. We have 5 Corruptors in production. Welmu has nothing in production. He's just saving up for some Warpins, and actually there we see lots of Templar coming in now. He's even sacking some probes now to free up some army supply. He's got a nice positional advantage already, and he's just going to build upon that. Counterattack here for StarBuck might actually be able to pick off this Nexus in time.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get it, but unfortunately at the cost of losing his entire army, as the Archons can just deal out AoE to biological units so quickly, and StarBuck just lost everything there. At the same time, oh, those are just probes. Never mind. They're not really doing anything. They're just sitting there. Go probes.
They're
go
just
attack.
Getting killed. Yeah, he's just sacking them, attacking hatcheries. Here we go. Spinecrawler Forest 2.0. Not enough to actually to stand up to all of these Stalkers and Colossi that are still here. Don't see any detection. They're only picking off the visible units, so blink forward, and he's going to finish off the rest of those structures. It looks like StarBuck is in a bad way now. He's only got 4 roaches in production rather than the 20 or so that he was able to afford earlier. He's out of gas. Notably, Welmu denied that base underneath the main for so long that he has actually just completely run out of gas.
All right, so Welmu now is pretty much rolling along. I mean, the only thing now that StarBuck can make enforce are a few roaches and a bunch of Zerglings, and that's about all he's got going for him at the moment. Welmu, though, he's still continuing to roll up. He's reestablishing this 5th base on the right-hand side. His 4th still isn't anywhere close to being out of resources, and he is just going to roll right up the gut.
Yep, and he's got shield upgrades going. That's how you know a Protoss player is comfortable with where he is, just upgrading shields as the sort of final piece of this puzzle. He's just going to vortex all the Archons into the lovely vortex. This is just like the 5th one we've seen now.
I believe so, yeah.
He's just dumped everything in there. So we'll watch some nice Zerging splattering here in just a moment. It's going to get centered on that lovely thing.
There we go.
Oh, that's a lot of dead Zerg.
Oh, no.
What did you do?
I tried to hit alt. I have alt now.
There
we go. There we have it. I
you.
totally take responsibility for that. That was my fault 100%. The Mothership is being neural parasited at the moment, but it doesn't matter. There's GG. StarBuck has gone down. Welmu winning another 30 minutes.